Good day everyone. So today I'm recording myself for my discussion about categorical syllogism. So rule number 3. It states that the middle term must be distributed at least once. So our focus here in rule number 3 is our middle term. So let's proceed to the next slide. The middle term M must be universal at least once, hence it can be universal both in the major and minor premises. The reason for this rule is that since the middle term serves as the medium or the mediating term between the major and the minor terms, then it must stand for its entire possible extension in at least one or both of the premises. If the middle term is undistributed or particular in both premises, this will arise to what is called fallacy of undistributed middle. So let's proceed to the next slide. So we're going to define the following terms first. So as you can see, major term written as the capital T, and then middle term written as capital M, and the minor term written as small t. So kung nakabantay mo, lain-lain na siya og color. So ang major term represents as the color red, middle term is purple, and minor term is sky blue. Para dali ra ma-identify later on sa akong mga examples kaning nga mga terms. So let's define the major term. The major term in simple categorical syllogism is the predicate of the conclusion. Besides, it must also occur in the major premise, either as a subject or a predicate. So the middle term, this term is a simple categorical syllogism that must occur only in the two premises, either major and minor premises, as a subject or a predicate, hence it will not occur in the conclusion. So ang middle term, di dyan siya mahitabong mo occur siya sa conclusion. It is also the term that serves the purpose of unifying the minor and the major terms in affirmative syllogism and separating these terms in negative syllogism. So in minor term is the term of the subject of the conclusion. This occurs in the minor premise where the major terms does not appear. So let's proceed to the next slide. So let us now examine this syllogism. All lions are animals. All men are animals. Therefore, all men are lions. So always remember that in finding major term, so it is the predicate of the conclusion. So our major term here is lions. And then our minor term is men, because minor term is the subject of the conclusion. And then let's proceed to the second premise. So all men are animals. So obviously our middle term here is animals, since wala man siya nakita sa conclusion, so mauna ato ang middle term. So ana ra ang pag-identify sa middle term, ang wala nasuwat sa conclusion. So maura na ang animals. So in the first premise, all lions are animals. So obviously this syllogism is invalid because the middle term animals, which appear as predicate in both the major and minor premises, in analyzing its quality, we notice that is not distributed or particular in both premises. Therefore, it violates rule number 3. The syllogism thus is fallacious in that it commits the fallacy of the undistributed middle. So let's proceed to the example number 2. Some lawyers are not studious. Marco is a lawyer. Therefore, Marco is not studious. So our major term here is studious. And then our subject is Marco. And then the second premise is our middle term is lawyer. Since always remember na wala siya nakita sa conclusion, so mauna ato ang middle term. So the first premise niya kay ang middle term niya kay lawyers, and then the major term is studious. So obviously this syllogism is invalid because as we can see, both middle terms in the first premise and second premise are particular. but because rule number 3 asks that at least one of the middle term must be universal. So this syllogism is invalid. So let's proceed to the next example. So all trees are plants. All kamagongs are trees. Therefore, all kamagongs are plants. So, in the conclusion, our plants here is our major term. And then our minor term is kamagongs, which is the subject of the conclusion. In the second premise, so our middle term is trees. Obviously trees because it is not wala siya sa conclusion. So in the first premise, all trees are plants. So the middle term is trees because trees is distributed in the first and second premise. So therefore, this syllogism is valid. So as what you have noticed, na siya nga A diri sa kilid. So kabaw naman ta na nga A kay proposition na siya, universal proposition I mean. So because it is A because the signifier of the syllogism is universal because of the signifier all. Then M stands for middle term, then U is universal, then plus because our signifier all is positive, then P stands for major term, then P stands for predicate. Then in the second premise, small t represents as minor term, and then U stands for universal, plus M our middle term, and then P stands for predicate. Therefore, minor term or T universal plus T capital T, which is our major term, and then P stands for predicate. So that's all. Thank you.